Woohoo! That was amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you for your commitment to show up. All of you, the choir, all of you sitting here, and all of you out there at home in your PJs. Good morning. My name is Tamara, and I'm Reverend Tamara Merrill, and I'm one of the staff ministers here, along with Reverend Grace, and of course our senior minister, Reverend Elijah. And I'm honored always to be here. And I'm glad I'm here. I was sick for a couple weeks, and it's so nice to feel here and back at home. This morning, the topic this morning is about regeneration. And in amidst of all the things that are going on in our home, in our country, it's time for some respite so that we can regenerate, so we can use that for growth. So here we go. First things first is I always like to start my sermon with everyone in here participating at their own level of intention. Intention is a wonderful thing. It sets the stage for what you want to experience. So please, I invite you to join me for a moment of going within and deciding what you'd like to carry away with you for the week through this awesome music, the prayers, and the message. So let us close our eyes and go within and see what you want, what your intention is, and what you want to carry with you the rest of the week. Here we go. Let us go into silence. Thank you. So this morning, the quote is by Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. Authentic evolutionary leaders are guided by their spiritual practice, lead with their heart, live by their values every day, and maintain a beginner's mind of teachability, receptivity, and humility, ever available to new insights and revelations. Thank you, Dr. Beckwith. You know, I want to do something, again, that requires some silence. But I needed a sense of rejuvenation for myself with all that's going on in the world. And I was listening to a song from my friend Stephen Walters. And it goes like this. All that is real is eternal. All that is false will change. In our journey, it is up to you to find out what remains. Let me say that again. All that is real is eternal. All that is false will change. And in this journey, it is up to you to find out what remains. And I say that because with all the problems in the universe, it's part of the birthing of things, because birthing is messy. We talk about perfection. And when we talk about perfection, we talk about the divine design of perfection. The fact that when you eat a potato, it turns into a fingernail. The divine design of just breathing and moving and having our beingness. But what is real? for me is love, is compassion, is kindness. And in that, there is pain. There is challenges. And how we hold that, how we transform that, is our job here on earth, I believe. Because in giving birth to anything, whether it's writing a book, having a child, there is challenges. There is so much messiness. We find that when we look out, we believe in the illusion that life doesn't have to be a struggle. But I think we have struggle wrong. I think if we embrace struggle differently as an opportunity to build muscle. I mean, look at all the people who go to the gym to get muscle, right? It's in the journey itself. What is real? When we put forth our energy to create something, it is in the journey itself that we get the reward, not in the end product. I remember watching this movie. I don't know what it's called. It's just the scene in this movie that keeps coming up in my life. And it's about a professor who's a famous writer. And he's married to this beautiful woman, has this perfect life, and this person's really jealous. This other professor's really jealous of him. And it goes about and plots the destruction of this professor and steals his new and upcoming book that he's writing and makes it his own. And in the end, the famous professor is dying because he poisoned him. And he said, "You will never know what it means to give birth to an idea if it's not yours." And I thought about that, and I think so many times we take for granted that if it doesn't flow and look perfect, that we're off the rails. We're not. It's an opportunity to look deeper, to go within, and this opportunity in our country is such an opportunity to go within. And we have to go and stand on the street corner and do what we do. And we also have to go within and rest and rejuvenate and take care of ourselves. Because with the stories that we keep hearing about deportation, about things being cut that in science and health, it can feel devastating. It can feel overwhelming, at least for me. And in order to keep our stamina up and to remember who we are, we must sometimes go within and be quiet and do our prayers faithfully and our spiritual practices. Because if you love freedom, and freedom is not for everyone, then it's not freedom, it's privilege. And one day you'll wake up and you won't be one of the privileged. And right now I'm feeling it's a time that we need to remember what is real. What is real is eternal. It is the spirit of who we are. It is the essence in a tree that goes dormant in the winter but knows that spring will come. For whatever you think about life after this journey in this body, I believe that all life is eternal. But for the naked eye, I can't think of his name now. He said, "Our eyes and our ears are bad witnesses because they do not speak the language of the soul." Our eyes and our ears are bad witnesses because they do not speak the language of the soul. That is a different language, and I feel really bad in my Greek philosophy because I lost his name. But the point being is, it is not in the appearance and illusion of things. It is in the heart and where we go. My story today is about me feeling down and sorry for myself. I got sick, and I was doing my work in my Sufi program to be a Shirag with Adora and Molly, and our whole 6-week project was on death and dying. And as I meditated, as I did my work and my readings in hospice, I had to do some work. So I took my 3 sons along with Topher, and we were shopping for clothes shopping at Wally World. That's what I call Walmart. Anyway, one of my boys got upset because what he wanted was too expensive. Okay, so I was like, sorry. And we got in a little tiff, and I wasn't feeling very well anyway. So Topher goes, why don't you go get yourself something to drink? I said, okay. So they have, a McDonald's there. So I went and got a Diet Coke, and I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself, angry, like frustrated about many things. And I saw this man trying to navigate a tray with one arm. He had an arm missing, an older gentleman. And he sat down, and he was facing me. And as he faced me, he got back up, and he looked at me. He said, ma'am, are you okay? And I go, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Well, thank you for asking, He goes, okay, I just felt maybe, you needed some encouragement. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. So as we chatted, I invited him to sit at my table. And we started talking. He was, in his 60s like myself, and he opened up to tell me his life story. How many people have had that happen to you? I'm sure everybody's had that happen. And he goes on to tell me that he's Cherokee Indian, he's Native American, and he grew up on a reservation, and it was brutal, basically. And he left the reservation, got married, had a beautiful daughter, got divorced because he said, I didn't know how to communicate. And before that, he said, and I was in the Vietnam War and lost my arm in the war. And he went on to talk about all these things, and it was fascinating. So as he went on to tell his story about how he didn't really communicate very well with his wife, and he knew that was something he wished he could have a do-over on. It was very, reminiscent of his life. And as we went forward and started talking, I started spousing my stuff about this philosophy and what I've learned. He looks up to me and he says, I live in Tres Pinos with my cat, George. I was like, oh, that's cool. And Tres Pinos, if you don't know where that is, it's way out in the country past Hollister in San Benito County, and it's pretty desolate. There's not a lot of homes there. There's a lot of big ranches, a lot of empty land. And he goes, I'm pretty much to myself. He said, I retired from my job, and I'm pretty reclusive. And he said, but today was kind of difficult. And I said, what went on? He goes, well, I just came from Kaiser, which is just down the street. And I got the news that I'm in stage 4 cancer. And I don't have very much longer to live. And I was thinking, wow, he came over to me and asked me how I'm doing. And this man just got probably the worst news of his life. And as we went on, he talked about how having one arm, sometimes he felt like a freak and how that was so challenging. And, all his personal feelings about life and people. And we talked for about over an hour and a half. And at the end, he just said, I speak with my daughter and I don't want to be a burden. But I have my cat, George, and he's a pretty good person to talk to. We laughed. At the end of it, I gave him my number and said, if you ever want anyone to talk to, I'd be more than happy to. And I gave him a big hug, and he said, in Native American, we believe in, unseen, what you would call angels or angel encounters. we call unseen guidance from the spirit world. And I believe that each and every one of you in here today can wake up tomorrow or even as we go forward in the rest of our day to look for those angel encounters that we can touch, that we can reach out to, an animal, a plant that needs something, anything that needs our help, anything that needs our love, anything that needs some compassion. Because sometimes it feels like it's so far out there, and what can we do, right? What can we do? And for me, I believe there's always an opportunity in every moment, no matter where you are, no matter where you go. And those stories, they impact. Someone just reaching out to ask me if I'm okay. That's a sense of presence of the world around you when you're having the worst day of your life. And that's my story today. I feel that it's just a really important thing as we try to rejuvenate ourselves in these times of outcry and impossible craziness of inhumanity to one another. And so let us reach out in our humanity to someone, something, and look for the unexpected good wherever we go. And with that, I want to read something that I felt really interesting. One of my kids was going through, have you ever heard of DeepSeek, AI DeepSeek? It's an AI program. And it was asking the AI about our political situation. And here's what it said, which I thought was really interesting. AI says, I am what happens when you carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. I am what happens when you carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. That says to me greed. Deepak Chopra was talking about the medieval consciousness that is still prevailing in the society of human life. And that pretty much says a lot to me, how I interpret that. We try to carve out God out of the material, out of greed, out of consumption, out of the things we think will make us happy. But we all know if we sit with it, we know what makes us happy. Belonging, like in that word, belonging to the earth, finding our soul, finding our soul's love, finding love in a flower, finding love in our pets, finding love in each other. It is the unseen essence that we are striving to have more of, experience more of. The stuff, yes, we need food. That I'm not going to say we don't need food and shelter. You know, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But we have met those, most of us, not all of us, and that's why we keep working. But the medieval consciousness that we constantly, through thousands of years, keep producing, stuff over reality, stuff over what is eternal. We choose the false over and over and over again, and that's what causes the war. We forget our humanity. All these people who are struggling for power and wealth, they miss the opportunity to see what is real and what is eternal. And I'm going to read this before the prayer one more time because I just feel it says so much to me. All that is real is eternal. All that is false will change. It is in our journey to find out what remains. Thank you. I know today was a little soft, and I think that's just the place where we need to regenerate and rejuvenate. So let us go within, knowing that there is only one power, there is only one presence. That is the essence of life itself. It is by divine design that we are here, for all the miracles of just being able to be in this body and breathe. The miracles of life itself. And yes, it is eternal and everlasting. For the miracles are the things that we have yet to be seen with our naked eye. So let us know that today, the miracles, if you are challenged with finance, if you are challenged with health issues, if you are challenged with relationship issues, know that there is an answer. And that answer is to go within and know that the outcome will be of your highest and best. Do not judge it by the way it looks. Judge it by the way you feel. And get to a place inside of us, knowing that the divine presence guides us to that place where the healing starts from the unseen and in and within. And knowing that's where the power lies, I give my power to that power. As I release and let go, knowing it is done.